Hi there, it's Nick Dutch and I'm back on the camera yet again one more time with another delightful introduction to a video. And of course, the video itself. Now, this is kind of like, but not totally, a response to Leighton Way, who's done a video called Determinism and Punishment, in which he was essentially reacting to his previous video in which he was going through all this kind of like emo-y, like, oh my god, do we have free will or do we not have free will kind of like thinking, and basically what that really means, and so on and so forth. And then he also related back to another video made by Copper Jones relating to the idea of, what about punishments and so on and so forth. This is a very difficult situation. I know because of my history with health. If I don't take all of my wonderful vitamins and mineral supplements and things which I need to keep myself healthy, and I don't have a healthy diet because I'm a person who has a history of health problems, then my performance, my ability to function and to work and so on and so forth will go downhill. Therefore, if my ability to get my vitamins, minerals, healthy diet, the right quantity of sleep, basically look after myself, goes downhill, then my behavior and my ability to be able to think for myself and rationally speaking basically goes to pot. I've done some videos in the past about the effect and the influence of the conspiracy theory movements here on YouTube, which it had upon me during a time when I was basically not getting any sleep because of work. I was very physically malnourished and I wasn't really able to think. I was literally in a position whereby it was determined for me by my circumstances that I would have some limitations to my ability to function, to basically compute, think rationally, and so on and so forth. So, as a human being, we do have some forces which act upon us, which then place some constriction upon our freedoms and our abilities to be able to function within society, and that goes with making choices on a day-to-day basis and being able to relate to other human beings and so on and so forth. Some things are essentially determined. There are other things which are determined which are laid upon us artificially. For instance, my national citizenship. I am subject to certain laws living in the United Kingdom. There's certain customs, there's certain taxes I have to pay on a regular basis, and so on and so forth. So this is also determined for me as a result of accidents of birth, and because I haven't had the wealth or stability to be able to move out of the United Kingdom and choose another location. However, take into account the way the world is, I'm probably in the best location for myself anyway, so I might as well stick with it. When it comes to the subject of crime and punishments, there's many more dimensions to the issues of the law and how the law should act than just a person has done wrong, therefore they should be punished. It not only acts as a deterrent, but it also acts as a moral message giver, and it therefore is a form of instruction to other people that there's certain things which are acceptable behavior and certain things which are not acceptable behavior, such as in the case of the more or less criminalization of drink driving, which has turned drink driving into something which is regarded as being immoral, wrong, and people get concerned about this. Okay. But there are other things which society may already consider to be essentially wrong, but which are not necessarily, it's not necessarily written properly into law, such as codes of conduct with dress and with behavior in different social circumstances. There's also, there is laws about that, which I as an individual cannot completely revolutionize, but it is possible to change some ideas when one moves into a community or into a society and either asks questions or provides another example and slowly changes the way of thinking within that particular community. So there is still some free will or apparent free will which can be had there. As a New Agey type individual, as I'm sure some of you know that I am, I have had some personal experiences which would actually suggest that, if we were to look at them just on a superficial or on a relatively logical basis even, that we don't have free will and our lives themselves appear to be just like being a self-conscious three-dimensional physical character in like a DVD which is being played in a certain way. So some of my personal experiences of that kind of like meditative strange nature would actually imply a complete lack of freedom. But on the other hand, is that actually practical to think upon those lines of, oh my word, I have lost all freedom of choice or thought, and therefore I can do absolutely anything and it doesn't actually matter. Well, not necessarily, because the moment a thought is brought into your consciousness, that starts defining and indeed determining some of your behavior and your responses. So essentially it becomes much more rational for the individual to try and work out what particular forms of conduct they wish to be able to obey, so to speak, and therefore to be able to apply some variety of discipline upon themselves as to what particular ideas they want to bring into their minds so that they can start to steer their lives in certain directions. And I would say, going of course contrary to the very popular atheist mindset here on YouTube, that one good way of doing that can actually be, at times, but certainly not under all circumstances, taking into account the diversity of religious opinion out there, living a religious style of life. For other people it would be studying certain forms of fiction, watching certain forms of TV shows, or adhering to certain forms of news broadcasters, and so on and so forth. So lots of things are already determined, but I think that we can still actually apply some choice to a certain degree over who we are, what we're about, and what we can become. And to the best of our ability, we can work hard so we can get the vitamins and minerals we need to keep ourselves healthy. We can do some exercise, we can try and have a healthy diet, we can try and make sure we get the right quantity of sleep at night, so that we can then have the clarity of thought to be able to make more intelligent and informed decisions as to who we are, what we are, and the way that we want to live, and to change the way in which we would like to basically appear towards other people. It's a complex subject. I don't think that there is, to the best of our knowledge as human individuals, just one singular way of, I suppose, explaining it or justifying it. But we can say that one can choose to develop a style of life which is healthier, and thus provides us with the ability to have more choice and more freedom of choice, taking into account our limitations as human beings. Just a few thoughts for today from the mind of Nick Dutch.